Hey there, wonderful people. Welcome, a very warm welcome. So good to see you guys here. And thank you for taking out your precious time. I am Dr. Swati Keria, your Vaisa buddy for today. This entire week, I'll be taking sessions on how to manage your anxiety. Every day, we'll be learning a new skill. First, we'll understand what anxiety is, what are the different forms of anxiety, how does it feel to us, and then how can we manage it, when do we need to seek help, what to do when you're having a panic attack, how to deal with social anxiety or social phobia. So, we'll understand what anxiety can do to you. What we'll do is, every day, once I have discussed a new skill, we'll have a question and answer sessions. I'll try and honestly answer all your questions. So please feel free to ask anything that you want to regarding anxiety or any other issue that you're facing. So let's start with what is anxiety. Anxiety is a very natural human response. It is believed that it actually helps in survival. So imagine that if I am not anxious that a tiger may eat me and I go into the jungle and a tiger comes in front of me, I will not run, right? The tiger will end up eating me. If I am not anxious about my exams, that I may fail or I may not do well or I may not get the college of my choice, I will not study for it. What will happen? I might actually fail and I might actually spoil my career. So in that sense, anxiety is a necessary and adaptive response to any kind of stress or danger in our surroundings. But it becomes a problem when it increases to an extent where it is not required. So when I start getting anxious on even thinking about the tiger, when I am so anxious before the exam that I am unable to concentrate, when I anticipate danger where there is none and I start getting anxious about it. So for example, what if things go wrong tomorrow? I don't even know, there is no antecedent to it, but yet I am getting anxious about it. What if my friends leave me? What if I'm all alone? What if I have a panic attack and I don't know how to deal with it? So some of the anxieties, when they go out of proportion, when they become problematic in your day-to-day life, when they interfere with your social and occupational functioning, that's when we say that anxiety is getting a problem and you need to learn how to deal with it. Anxiety, what it does is that, as I said, it triggers a response in your brain which tells you there is danger ahead or there is something which needs to be dealt with. So it typically triggers what is called a flight or a fight response. So either I run or I fight it out. So either I run when I see the tiger or I fight out by actually studying for the exam. Now imagine that you are in a social situation and you are anticipating that what will people think about me? Are they judging me? Are they going to make fun of me? So what will you do? You might run. You might not want to attend the social situation, right? And the more you avoid that situation, the more anxiety provoking it actually becomes. So that's when the fight and the flight response becomes problematic. So that's what anxiety is all about. How does it feel? How does it feel in our body? How does it affect our thinking process? How does it affect our behavior? So what happens in anxiety basically is, the first thing that you will notice about anxiety is a physiological response or a bodily response. Typical signs can include increased heart rate or palpitation, dizziness, sweatiness, a lot of sweating, a shaking or a trembling kind of a feeling, fumbling a lot, not being able to formulate words and sentences, not being able to concentrate, not being able to sit comfortably at one place, so feeling restless. Shortness of breath, a tightness in chest and in the body, can all be signs of physiological signs of anxiety. At the thought level, now what happens? At the thought level, lot of negative thoughts are going on. For example, I might be catastrophizing. What if I fail? I'm definitely going to fail. This is not going to work out. People are going to hate me, right? I personalize. So whatever wrong is happening is because of me. I am a mess. I have made a mess of the whole situation. I am jumping to conclusions. So a friend I call who doesn't pick up, and I jump to the conclusion that he or she must be hating me, or he or she doesn't want to be a friend anymore, and I start getting anxious about it. I may be indulging in a lot of shoulds and musts. I should always be presentable. I should always be talking very aesthetically to people. I should always be correct in what I'm doing. I need to do things perfectly. Or I might be minimizing or maximizing. So minimizing all the good things that I do and maximizing all my mistakes. And then I think that I am good for nothing. So the main core belief behind all that I am worthless or I am helpless in the given situation, right? So that happens to our thinking. Now, what happens to the behavior? As I said, the fight or the flight. But a typical person who has more anxiety, as in disproportionate level of anxiety, fighting is something they're not prepared to do. They end up taking a flight. They end up running away, avoiding or escaping from the situation. And then it becomes a cycle of avoidance, more anxiety, avoidance, and so on and so forth. So you avoid. You're not able to perform adequately, which reinforces your belief that you're worthless or incompetent. You are not able to focus on things or concentrate, so you're not able to remember things and you feel your memory is going for a toss. You're not able to put in your best effort with things. So, just to reiterate and to create a picture for you, what happens in anxiety is it leads to a lot of physiological changes in your body, like increased heart rate, shortness of breath, difficulty speaking, difficulty staying still, trembling, sweating, shakiness, etc. It leads to changes in your thought process where you're thinking in a negative manner, and it leads to changes in your behavior. Now, what we say is all these things, all these four things are interrelated. So, negative thoughts, anxiety, avoidance behavior, physiological responses, right? So, suppose a situation happens that you've called a friend and the friend doesn't respond back and doesn't text you back. So, it may start with the thought that he or she doesn't like me anymore, which will lead to anxiety, which may make you message them more and more or check your phone again and again, and then you'll also notice a lot of physiological signs of anxiety. Another thing that can happen is, for some people, especially those having panic attacks, it starts with physiological symptoms and it leads to catastrophic thoughts that, oh my god, what's happening to me? I don't know, I'm going to lose control or I'm going to die. Leads to more and more anxiety, and the behavior is you just want to shut down or withdraw, right? Sometimes the behavior can be anxiety provoking. So you do something, you say something and people make fun of it, and ultimately your thought is, see, I said that people are going to judge me or I'm a stupid person, and again the cycle of anxiety starts. So it all keeps going in a cycle which we need to break. How do we break this? In the coming days, we'll be talking about some behavioral and cognitive skills, that is how to change your thinking process for managing anxiety. Today, what we are going to focus upon is the physiological changes that happen and what we can do about it. So as I was mentioning, and just to reiterate, shortness of breath and an increased heart rate is usually the first sign of anxiety. So what happens is, when your heart rate increases and you're not able to breathe properly, one of the brain systems is activated, which is saying that there is a danger, and it needs to send all the blood to the periphery so that you can either fight or flight, right? So therefore it is trying to send more and more oxygen to the brain, so you're breathing rapidly. It is pumping your heart faster so that it produces more blood, so that either you can run away or fight in the situation. It produces gastric juices so that the food digestion is quickened, and therefore you can do what needs to be done in the situation, right? Your shaking and trembling is because more and more blood supply is going to the periphery. So if we can change that breathing process, if we can relax ourselves or calm ourselves down, if we can get our heart to pump in a normal manner, the system of the brain which is responsible for a calm response gets activated. It kinds of gets a signal that the danger is not there, you can relax and think in a more rational manner. So there are few ways in which one can achieve this. One of them can be a breathing exercise, which I'll be teaching in a few minutes. Simple breathing exercise, a mindful meditation kind of a thing, or focusing on your breath. It can be doing simple deep breathing exercises where you breathe in a particular way, or a pranayam. It can also be a form of progressive muscular relaxation, where you tighten some of the muscles of your body and relax them, while associating the word relax as you loosen yourself up. The main thing behind this is that when you're anxious, your entire body is very tight, and if you just relax it, it immediately gives the signal to the brain that the danger is gone away and you can be comfortable and calm. Coming back to the breathing exercises, for all those of you who are probably into yoga, might know some pranayams like the Anulom Vilom or the Om, which we do, like close our eyes and ears and say Om. Can be useful. For those who do not know, I'll be doing a simple breathing exercise, and I hope that if you do it regularly, then it will help you. So for this breathing exercise, what I want you to do is, first take off all the things that are tight. So if you're wearing a belt, take it off, remove your spectacles, sit in a comfortable position or lie down, whatever you feel like doing. If you lie down, please lie down straight on your back, keeping your hands on your side. And if you sit comfortably on the chair, put your feet on the ground and keep your back straight. Once you have loosened all the tight clothings and removed belts, etc., and you have either lied down or sat on a chair, just close your eyes and follow my instructions. We'll first be starting with a body scanning exercise and then go on to the mindfulness breathing. So with your eyes closed, take your attention to your forehead and loosen it. Now take your attention to your eyes and loosen them. There should be no tension in your eyeballs. Now take your attention to your jaw. Unclench your jaw and feel the relaxation. Take your attention to your neck and the shoulder, the parts which are most tight when you're anxious, and just loose. If required, take a breath and then loosen them. Now take your attention to your right hand. Move your fingers a little and relax them. Take your attention to your left hand. Move your fingers and relax. Pay attention to your chest and your stomach and loosen them. Loosen up your back. Don't sit like this. Sit comfortably or lie down comfortably. but see that the back doesn't have any tension in it. Now take your attention to your right leg and loosen it, and finally to the left and loosen it. It's almost like doing the Shavasana, where your entire body is completely loose and relaxed. Now I want you to take a deep breath through your nose to a count of 4. We'll hold it to a count of 2 and exhale through your mouth to a count of 6. So let's start. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. And breathe out through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue doing it. As you breathe in, count to a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold to a count of 2. 1, 2. And exhale through your mouth to a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wonderful. One more time. Breathe in through your nose to a count of 4. Hold for a count of 2. And exhale through your mouth to a count of 6. Your entire body is absolutely loose. Now breathe the way you do. Don't make any extra effort to breathe in a particular way. Just do your normal breathing. But keep your attention to the breath that's going in and coming out. How it feels when you breathe in. The fresh air going through your nose, filling in your lungs and circulating in the body. How you feel when you hold it, and how you feel when you exhale out all the negativity, all the toxin energy coming out of the body. Your breath is your anchor, which will keep you in the here and now. Just focus on it as you breathe in and breathe out. As you focus on the breathing, you might notice your mind doing what mind does the best. That is, going to all different places. Thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about what's good and what's bad. All the thoughts, positive and negative. Imagine those thoughts as balloons or kites that are just flowing in the air. They are coming and going, different colors. The negative ones is red, the positive ones is blues, the friend ones is greens, but all flying away. Thoughts are like that. Thoughts don't define you, thoughts don't make you. So you don't have to hold on to your thoughts. You just allow them to come and then go. So thoughts will come and go. You don't hold them, you don't let them define you, and you gently bring back your focus to your breathing. So you're aware of your thoughts. You know they are coming, but you're not judging them. You're not controlling them. You're just focusing on the breath while being aware of those thoughts. So breathe in and breathe out. Focus on your breath as you inhale and exhale. Be aware of the bodily sensations that you might be having, some kind of discomfort or an urge to move a body part. Be aware of it, but don't judge it. Be aware of any sounds that might be coming from the external space. Again, be aware of it, but don't judge it. Every time the mind wanders, just gently, like a small child, bring it back to the breath, to the breathing process, till you are completely immersed into that experience. Now, congratulate yourself for the time that you have spent to relax yourself, and whenever you are comfortable, you can open your eyes. Now, please remember that a skill that we teach in managing anxiety is like any other skill which needs practice. If you don't know how to drive and you're asked to drive in an emergency situation, you will not be able to do that, right? Similarly, if you have anxiety and you want to use the breathing technique when you're having a panic attack, it won't work. Please practice it. Practice, 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 and more practice till you become fluent in it. And then it will be your partner and your savior at the time when you need it the most. So now we can move on to the question and answer sessions. And tomorrow we would be tuning it at the same time to understand how to solve problems and how to manage time.